Today we are going to see an hands-on session on Amazon SES. So what basically is SES? SES is an email service provided by AWS. So what this service does is it sends mail to the recipients. Okay, uh, this comes handy when we are sending some promotional mails to users and uh, to when we subscribe to a newsletter or something, we'll get a mail regularly. Every user gets the same mail. In case of bulk mails, all those things. And it's also used to send mail to the people in the same domain. For example, let's say there is some company XYZ. uh, you If I use that company's domain, everyone who has the mail ID with under XYZ company, like for example, user 1 at XYZ company, user 2 at XYZ company, all those users or working people, they receive that mail. Okay, so under a domain, everyone can receive that mail. Okay, it's more like a public notice in that case. So first, to send a mail or receive a mail in SES, we have to create an SES identity. Okay, so let's go to SES get setup, and then here I have something called verify mail address. Here I don't have any email ID so far, identity so far, and I'll create one now. See, this in this section we are having two options. It's either a domain or an email address. So when I'm using an email address, I give it to the people, like whoever is subscribed to this newsletter. I'm sending the mail to them. Under the case of domain, it's more like the circular sent inside a company, stuff like that. First, I'll add my mail to this. Sorry, I'll have to verify this mail. Okay, this is done so that users don't get spammed over. Okay, such that unauthorized people cannot mail to certain peoples like that. Now, see, I've got the verification link, and when I hit this link, my account has been verified. And when I reload this, I'll be able to see the status that my account has been verified. Okay, now I'll add another email ID. This email ID is some dummy email ID that already exists. So again, I'll have to verify. I'll go. I got the mail, and I'm verifying this. The email address has been verified. Okay. Uh, Now when I reload this, the status has changed. Now I have created the identity email IDs in the AWS SES, right? So now I'll have to write a code to send the mail. For that, I'll use Lambda. I'll create a new Lambda function. I'll call this email SES, and I'll configure the runtime to Python 312. Now I'll create this function. By default, Lambda gets an execution role which has the basic Lambda execution permissions. Okay, I'll show you. So see, the execution role has been created as email SES role and something. Now when I open this, it has a policy called Lambda basic execution role. And this policy makes sure that the Lambda is executable, all the basic functions like executing, testing, deploying, and logs, all those comes under this policy. Okay. Now I'll have to attach SES. So for that SES, I'll have to create a policy such that I can send mails. So I'll create an inline policy. I'll use the visual editor and I will say the service is SES. I'm using SES version 2 as it is more updated. Right now it is updated. And in the SES actions tab, I'll go to the right part and I'll select send email and send bulk email. By selecting this, I'm telling that this role can send mail, okay, either to one person or a group of people, and only they can only send mail and they cannot do anything else. Any other functions like deleting an email identity, deleting an email or template, that's not possible over here. Okay. Now I'll set to all resources. Okay. I'll give it a policy name called mail service SES. Here in the permissions, I have the services has been listed, and what is the access level of access, and whichever resources can this service access. Okay, so all these three services can access all resources, and it can only write. There is no read or any other operations. Now I'll create this policy. The policy has been attached to the role now. Okay, now we'll go to the Lambda code. So this is the basic code they have given us. First, to test this code, we'll need to set an event. Okay, I'll give it as my event. This what this event basically does is every time the code is deployed, this event goes ahead and executes in JSON format or any other format we are specifying. Okay, so now I'll just try it out first. See, I returned an JSON file and I'm getting a status code is 200 and body is hello from Lambda. So the Lambda function is working very well. Now what I'll do is I'll alter this function part such that I can send a mail. First, the Lambda has to access SES. I'll do it through the variable client. Okay. To access an AWS service, I need a package called Boto3. I haven't imported Boto3. I'll do it now. Uh, so what this Moto 3 basically does is it accesses the AWS services, any AWS services using like from Python code. I could say I could write a Python code and say to access EC2 instance or deploy an EC2 instance or upload a file in a bucket, S3 bucket like that. Okay. Now I'll create a client in Boto 3. The client can access the service SES, and the region I'm limiting it to the region AP South one as it is the nearest one to me. Then I am creating a variable called sender. I'm giving a sender mail ID here. Okay, gmail.com. Now I will create a response, that the mail response. Okay, the mail response should be given through client, right? The SES is here. The SES is represented as client. So I'll give it through client. And in that client, I am calling a function called send email. In this send email, I'll give the context of the mail, okay? The destination, the body, and everything. So first, I'll create a destination. The people who are receiving their mail are under here, okay? I'm creating two addresses. I'm giving the value to two addresses parameter, okay? Sorry, two addresses. Now I'll give here two email IDs. One is, sorry, the email ID should be in quotations. And I'll give another email ID. It has nothing to do with Amazon SES, okay? So I'll give another email ID here. I haven't created an identity for this email ID, okay? Sorry. Now the destination part is over. Fine. I'll go to the message part. We'll write it like an email itself. First, in the message content, I'll have a subject parameter, right? Subject. First comes subject. So I'll give the subject context in the data parameter. Here the key is data, and the value I'm giving for the data is the context of the subject. Like, let's say hello. Fine. Now subject is over. Then I'll come to the body part. So in the body part, I can give two types of content. Either it can be a text or it can be a HTML page. Okay. Any other media formats cannot be given in there. So if you want to display an image or anything else, you will have to give it as a HTML page. Here I'll specify the type to be text, and in text I'll have the key in data, and for that data I'm giving a value. Nice to meet you. Good day. Fine. With this, the body part is over, right? Now then, I'll go to. I have given a destination over here. I have given the context of the message, but so far I haven't told the SES who is sending this mail. For that, I will give source. Here, I have created a sender variable, right? I'll assign that sender over here. Now, one more thing, where when I'm giving an like when I'm creating an SES identity, it doesn't that email ID doesn't need to have an AWS account in it. We can just use any email ID, okay? Now first I'll deploy this. Whenever we are making a changes in any of the part of the code, we'll have to deploy it so that the changes are saved in the Lambda server, okay? After that, I'll test it. Okay, I am getting an error message. An error occurred. Message rejected when calling the send mail operation. Email address is not verified. Okay. This email ID, the second email ID that I gave, is not verified. That is, it is not an SES identity. So the email cannot be sent. What I'll do is I'll take this away. Fine. I'll deploy it again. Now I'll test it. Okay. Now what I'm getting is the test event name was my event and the response was null. What this means is there is no error that my code has been executed. Now let's check if the code has been executed. I'll go to the mail. See, I got a mail here with the subject hello. The sender was the my mail ID and it came through AmazonSES.com. And here the see this mailed by part, the region and the service used. This has been specified over here. And then I got the content, the body content that I gave. Okay. So this is how SES and Lambda works. This is how you send a mail. In this case, I can keep to like 10 to 15 or hundreds of mail IDs, any number of mail IDs I want. I just have to make sure that those mail IDs are SES identities. Okay, that's it, guys. Thank you.